Centralizing, buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one thinks countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one thinks countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is, for the last time, Game On. I'm going to send in my new header for the show to Jules, I guess, after this show, or tomorrow morning. And the show is going to be known as Rock the Boat from here on in, because that's what we need to do. The game is on, but we need to get rocking the boat real hard. We just have to. Now, I'm going to start here with a local story tonight, and if I can dig it out. Let me see here now. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Okay. In Ontario here, and I don't care where you live, right? It makes no difference to me. It's all the same garbage going on. It's all UN Agenda. I mean, UN Agenda 21, for all intents and purposes, was pretty much put in place by now. And, I mean, it came from 1992. This is 2016. And then in the background, the CAO, city managers, setting the agenda for the city councils. And I doubt a lot of these city council people even know what the hell's going on. They're thick as a box of rocks. It's a part-time job. And the CAO city manager is there all the time, and they do set the agenda for the council meetings. So the CAOs, city managers, are they're trained in the implementation of UN Agenda 21 and now 2030. And these clowns that you supposedly vote for just go along with it. And so right now, up in my neck of the woods, the Niagara Escarpment Commission wants to basically double the size of its jurisdiction in Grey County. And what is it they want? Well, if they get the jurisdiction, then it takes away their jurisdiction and supersedes the local jurisdiction, which means they will bring in all kinds of really heavy-duty planning rules. You can't build here, you can't build that. Expenses will go way up as far as trying to build anything. You'll have to go through very strict, expensive environmental assessments and whatnot. The funny thing is, you don't need environmental assessment to run a war. That always killed me. If I want to put a shed up or dig a pond, it's going to cost me a lot out of pocket, a lot of hoops to hop, And if this Niagara Escarpment comes in, chances are I won't be able to build a shed or dig a pond. I might disturb a salamander or something. Who knows? And, maybe a future bird would like to nest where I'm about to put my shed. And this worked out. It's about the precautionary principle. Runs all of this crap, and we have to be careful and precautionary that you don't build a shed there just in case something wants to live where your shed is going to go. Even though nothing lives there now, it could want to live there later. So therefore, you won't get the permit to build your shed or dig your little pond. And this is what's going on everywhere. I hear so much flack about this, the Bundys and that other group of people. I don't remember what their name are. Nevada and Oregon, I guess it is. About them, not paying their fees or whatever to the BLM and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know anything about these groups of people, but I do know that the plan is not about preservation. It is about running you off the land, period. And running you off the land so when they bankrupt our countries the next time, which is just on the verge right now. Now, they used you as surety for the debt in the past, and now they're going to use all of the natural resources as surety on the debt. In fact, that's what they're doing. They're going to globally monetize all the land and all the water and all of the resources. And this will be their new bank account. And that was made very plain in George Hunt's video out in Colorado way back in '87. And Edmund de Rothschild was there, and he was discussing this. It was about it's basically about a land bank. And so you will lose access to all of your land and all of your resources. And that's why the cities are growing rapidly, because they're shoving people out of the country. So here, this is just another case of incremental shoving you off the land, basically. Anyways, it goes like this. The warden of Grey County is encouraging residents to attend a public meeting on Tuesday night regarding an expansion plan by the Niagara Escarpment Commission, which is trying to double the size of its jurisdiction in Grey County. Al Barfoot, and he's the warden, I guess you would call that the jailer, tells Bayshore Broadcasting News the expansion proposal includes large sections of land in Meaford, which is a small town northeast of Owen Sound, as well as southern Georgian bluffs, including White Cloud and Griffin Island. So altogether, I think there's about 40-some thousand hectares that this Niagara Escarpment Commission wishes to take control of. That's like the BLM if you're in the United States. Okay, it's land management. Now, you didn't elect them. Okay, these things are created by your so-called government. Okay, they're created by the government. They're not voted by anybody. They are bureaucracies. And they're created so they're outside the reach of government that created them. So they gave them powers that your local municipalities, towns don't have. So while you supposedly are voting for representation, this goes above your representation. Of course, they don't represent you anyways, but that's how the story's supposed to work. Anyways, Barfoot says upper and lower tier municipalities are comfortable with the planning process that includes or involves the county and each municipality. That's what's presently in place. They're comfortable with that. He says they don't need the Niagara Escarpment Commission adding another far more restrictive level to the approval process for landowners, but that's exactly what's going to happen. because the Niagara Escarpment has more power than the municipal government does. The other reason you know it's going to happen is that the local municipal councils, city councils, are all creations of the state. And those municipal city councils are in the child position of the state, or the province in this case. And they do the bidding of the state or the province, because the state or the province, having created them, has the power to dismiss those people and put their own people in. In other words, if the municipalities and the cities don't do as they're told, the state, province, has the power to walk in and shut the place down and kick everybody out of there and then put their people in and reopen it. So this idea that you have a vote and you have representation is one of the biggest jokes that was ever been applied against people. So they're going to go through this nonsense, and the mayors and the wardens are going to stand up for the people and stand up for the municipalities, which they're not going to, because all you have to do is go look at world mayors or city mayors. Just look it up on the internet, and you'll find that these people are all pushing the UN agenda. Part of the UN agenda is the restriction of your land rights. So on the one hand, they're saying, oh, no, we're happy with the way it is, and we don't need another layer of more restrictive, when in fact they're in bed with this nonsense. In other words, your mayors are liars. And your wardens are liars. Your city councilors are liars. They say they're standing up for you. They don't even represent you. Okay? They're a creation of the state province. They do not represent you. They cannot represent you. They take an oath to the freaking corporation. So you see these guys, most of them are Masons or similar situations, but they've all sold their soul because they have this capacity to look empathetically at you as they lie to you. Oh, we're going to fight this for everything we're worth, boys. We're going to fight this. You can count on this. I'm your mayor, and I'm going to fight tooth and nail to back up this basically takeover of our lands. Again, nothing could be further from the truth. It's an act. So he's saying that, Barfoot says residents must voice their concerns on this issue. And in the end, because the province state created the land management boards, commissions, whatever you want to call it, and given them more power on land management than the municipal city governments that they created, you know who's going to win this. But they'll go through all the show and the play and rattle of sabers and all of this kind of stuff, knowing full well what the outcome is going to be. It's problem, reaction, solution. We've got a problem, says the mayor, or the warden in this case. We've got a problem. They're going to come and try and take over some of our land. That's the reaction. So we're going to get a whole bunch of news play, and everybody's concerned, and people are coming out to the meetings. And who's else is going to be at the meetings? The police are going to be at the meetings. And who are the police going to be? Who are the police going to be protecting? The people? Not a chance, because the police are corporate. The police are created by the state province. You'll never see police on the side of protesters, because the protesters ain't paying them their paychecks. Well, they are through their labor and their taxes, of course, but the police don't see it that way. They're there to protect the state, period. That's their job. That's what they do. That's what they take an oath to. So we're going to get all this and noise and everything else, and the solution, which was already decided upon before the problem was brought forward, is we're going to take over the land and we're going to make it much more restrictive for you to do anything with it. Now, it would look at this that they're targeting small rural towns now, okay? Owen Sound will be, it's the hub. It's where the city halls are and the county halls are there. So by 21,000 hectares, now I don't know, it's around 2 acres, I think, a hectare or something, a little over 2 acres. So say 45,000 acres are located in Meaford. Well, Meaford's just a small town. So basically what you're doing is you are taking the entire town of Meaford and putting these extraordinary restrictions on it, which means the town's going to die. As they've decided they're going to kill the town, and they'll move people into a larger center, which will likely be Owen Sound, if that's where the people want to end up at. If they want to stay in the area, they'll end up in Owen Sound. And then they'll end up in high-density housing, of which all of these places are building. This is how it operates. Now, I know other really small places where they've taken the gas stations out, they've taken the food stores out, they've taken the post offices out, which means it costs a lot of money to travel 20, 30 miles to go get gas or get groceries. They're starving out the older people who lived in these communities. Most of these towns are old because they've taken away the opportunities for the youth, which forces the youth to go to the cities to look for employment. The older folks living on pensions or whatever or don't want to move to the cities. So they're going to wait them out, starve them out, or put so many restrictions on there, nobody will ever come in to build anything there again. And the town will slowly die, and it will be reclaimed for bears and birds and salamanders and whatever. And this is where we're going. And we got to put our foot down. I mean, I watched this thing. I fought the windmills and for years and years and years, and couldn't believe the stupidity of the people that were being impacted by these wind farms. They couldn't get it through their thick frickin' skulls that these are, it doesn't matter if it's your mayor saying, oh, well, we want to stop it. They can't stop it. They're not being honest. It's all a game. And it's just a template they pull off the shelf and they just put in some new stuff. The exact template was used for wind energy is the exact same template as being used for the land rewilding. Same template, same game, same play, same nonsense. They have open houses to listen to people's concerns. But they don't give a shit what your concern is. That's the patronization part of it, I guess you could call it. Well, you're going to go to the meeting tonight because they're having an open house. We got to go there and voice our concerns. Well, yeah, we'll go voice our concerns, but when you get there, they're going to have all the maps laid out, just like they did with the wind and everything else. They have all the maps there. They have a beautiful display there on why it's positive to let the Niagara Escarpment Commission take over land planning in this great vast area. And people will complain, and then people are so stupid, they go, oh, I see, okay, so that would work well, wouldn't it? Well, sure, we've spent a lot of money and time and effort figuring this out, and it's for everybody's best interest, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people will succumb to that. The hardcore people that actually have an idea what's going on are going to get sidelined as radicals and this, that, and the other thing. So my prediction is that about 90,000 acres is about to be taken from the people up in this neck of the woods. And so we'll see what happens there. It really ticks me off because it's a beautiful area. And Like I do know that there's a hunt camp and that on Griffin Island, so they'll go. Those guys are going to be shoved out of there. And I guess there's some pretty nice places up there too, which will be all, well, have a hard time with it. So there's a Tuesday meeting that is tonight from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Harry Lumley Bayshore Community Center in Owen Sound. Same place that we've had meetings over wind industry and new sewer systems and new water systems and all of this stuff, which is indebting the people badly. Upgrades demanded by the province, which are demanded by the UN, which comes from Agenda 21. And once the people have spent the money to upgrade all of these systems, then they will be immediately sold as a public-private partnership. And approximately 7 years after, from what I see, the pattern is that it will quietly move from a public-private partnership to private. Okay? Your resources, your water, your lands are all being taken away from you. And you should be mightily pissed about it. And that's why we got to rock the boat. Now, where am I going from there? Oh, a book. I want to do that before I forget about it. Where did I put that thing? This is very interesting. I had a listener from Calgary call me yesterday. And I had a real nice chat with her. I think she's called into the show in the past. And now I got to find that. Where did I put it? Where the hell did I put that? It's got to be right in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. This is a book that she turned me on to, and it's what's it called here? It is called. I have to reload this thing. And I got my buddy reading it right now, and I only read. I just skimmed through the first part of it, and it looks extremely interesting. And you may know this guy. His name is Ivan Illich. And she was telling me he was a Jew or something, but I'm coming up with a Catholic priest. But regardless, this thing's not loading properly here. What's the scoop? Back up and try this. Oh, here we go. And it's called Ideas in Progress, Disabling Professions by Ivan Illich, Irving Kenneth Zola, John McKnight, Jonathan Kaplan, and Harley Shaken, by Marion Bors out of London. And this is quite interesting. Contents are Disabling Professions by Ivan Illich, Healthism and Disabling Medicalization by Zola, Professional Service and Disabling Help by McKnight, Lawyers and Litigants, Cult Reviewed. I may just buzz right down to that. Craftsman into Babysitter by Harley Shaken. Now this is a collection, I guess. It's only 63 pages, so even if you don't like reading it, it is in sections so that you can go through it, find something that interests you, and I'm sure once you've gone to that, you'll probably read the rest of it because it will likely also interest you. This thing's loading slow. Oh, why is this thing doing what it's doing here? Why? It's given me a difficult time. Let's try this again. See if it'll load up properly this time. So, anyways, I guess our LBGTQ Pride Month used to be a gay pride parade that was like for a few hours, but now it's via the UN turned into a full long month celebration. Anyways, Ivan Illich was born in 1926. He studied theology, philosophy, and history. He was assistant pastor in an Irish Puerto Rican parish in, Jesus, I didn't know they had such a thing, an Irish Puerto Rican parish in New York, and vice rector of the Catholic University of Puerto Rico. From 62 to 76, he directed research seminars at the CIDOC in, I can't see that, where he still lives. He is the author of Celebration of Awareness, Deschooling Society, Energy and Equity, Limits to Medicine, Medical Nemesis, The Expropriation of Health, and the Right to Useful Employment. Irving Kenneth Zola was born in 1935. He studied history and sociology and taught at Harvard University before becoming a professor of sociology. His special subject in medical sociology, and he has published widely on that subject in the United States and Europe. John McKnight, born in 1931, formerly working in civil rights and civil liberties, is now a professor of communication studies and urban affairs at Northwestern University in Chicago. He has lectured in the United States, Europe, Latin America, and has published many articles on social work. Jonathan Kaplan was born in 1951 after reading law at Downing College, Cambridge. He became a scholar of Gray's Inn, London. He has worked in the United States for the BBC and contributes articles and legal features in a number of national newspapers and periodicals. He is now practicing lawyer with Christopher Price. He is co-author of Confate Confessions. And then lastly, Harley Shaken was born in 1946. He abandoned his studies at the University of Chicago because, quote, I felt that my studies lacked relevance to either my background or the world I saw around me, unquote. He worked first as an unskilled worker and then took an 8,000-hour machine repair apprenticeship at General Motors in Detroit. He has worked 2 years in a steel mill, 5 years for a large car manufacturer, 5 years for a small machine shop. These are the guys that wrote this stuff, and I'm going to boot it down here. This is not loading up right for me at all. Don't know why. Anyways, what I'm going to do, because it doesn't look like this is going to load properly for me. I don't know why it's doing this. It's just being miserable. But I'm going to stuff the link anyways into the chat. And you guys can read it. Maybe there's too many people reading it right now. I don't know what the hell's going on. It did load for me before, but I think this is what I read of it was only just briefly, but my buddy's been looking through it and he goes, this is a really good book. And basically what it is, it's about the professions, right? And the arts are the professions, and the arts are used, the arts are not real. Okay, art is not real. Art is fictional, just like the person is fictional. This is stuff that's concocted in the mind. Okay, when you're reading a lot of this stuff, you'll see terms like abstract concepts and that. Maybe not in this book, but when I'm studying things and looking to see where it came from or how it came about, like take land or take property. Property is a abstract concept, something made up in the mind. It's fictional. It's not real, and it is all in the legal world, which is again is fictional. So these guys, from what I saw, and what my buddies read so far, is that these guys basically explain the role of the professions and how the professions impact upon your lives. In other words, decide what kind of house you're going to live in, decide what kind of school you're going to go to, decide what medical you're going to get, and so on and so forth. And so they kind of spilled the beans because we were completely controlled by these so-called professions, who all, by the way, all professions have their own jargon. And jargon, by definition, is language used to deceive and gain advantage. And that's what they do. They're using their knowledge or their training to basically gain advantage and control. Because with knowledge, you gain control. Simple as that. And they control our lives. And this is really ticking me off because it refuses to load for me properly. So I'm going to stick it in the chat right now, and then you guys can read it. And I really do encourage you to look further into these authors, and you guys can take a boo at it. I may just run back and take a background check on this. My computer, there we go. My computer has really been ditzy. Let me just try this. Now, I'm going to change this right now. Today. That looks nice. So that's going to be the new name of the show, Rock the Boat. And I've had it over on Facebook for a while, and I'm going to do it everywhere because I was getting a mess, right? I couldn't do Canada Live anymore. I was still doing Canada Live over on Revolution Radio, but Canada's a dead fictional entity, so for me to call anything Canada Live seems kind of like an oxymoron, and that's been bothering me for a while. And so I had Canada Live, and then Game On Here, and then I'd change it over a while back on Facebook to Rock the Boat. So I'm just gonna make them all the same, and makes my life easier. And the problem with Canada Live, when you put in Canada Live in the search engine, you've got so many things in Canada that are called Canada Live. Canada Live Sports, Canada Live Radio, Canada Live News, Canada CBC is full of Canada Live stuff. So it's very difficult to find. Rock the Boat, I think, is going to be easier to find. But I still need a song. If somebody... Angus, who did the intro song that I'm using now, isn't around here too much anymore. I need a new intro. Basically along the line of why we're rocking the boat, and what the purpose of rocking the boat is, and why we have a duty to rock the damn boat. Because we do got to get rocking on this pretty damn quick. I'm going to go back and take a quick boo. Maybe I can get some different info on this book that I just put in there. Which is down here further, right? It is... I got so many frickin' tabs open. It is nuts. There we go. I'm going to go back here and see if I can find something else that'll give me a... that's a buy it. That's Amazon Books, Google. Reviews, discussion. It's basically has a 4 out of 5 star rating here, supposedly. Reviews and discussion. Let me take a quick look at this. See what we can dig out here. But I think that's a 4.5 star book, which is pretty damn good. Now where am I going to see the reviews here? It is 52 ratings, 4 reviews. Let's see what the reviews are. Wonderful, every word cuts to the bone, 5-star. One of the most thought-provoking books I have ever read. Short and to the point. The arguments are not that complex, yet are very profound. I find myself thinking about what this means for my life. Highly recommended for everyone. If 2 of the contributors had not made several quite contradictory and or otherwise confusing comments, I would have given this, everyone should read this book, 5 stars. Are you really helping, and who is benefiting? One of the best critiques of liberal institutions and the professional world ever. So yeah, I'm going to have to read this tonight, I guess, because you know, we're pretty hardcore researchers, and I want to thank Faye out in Calgary for sending this to me, or at least I haven't even checked my email today, but for getting me this guy's name in that, because I never heard of the guy before. And that's one of the things that's weird about research. You know, you research and research and you research. And I've heard lots of researchers say it before. I've even said it before. I said, okay, that's it. I got it. I know everything now. And I think that's a big mistake for researchers. Now, this is interesting. Anyways, I think it's a big problem for researchers. You know, we read so much and we get what's what. We understand things, and we think, okay, I'm done. Well, you're never done. Okay, you're always going to find a gem. I haven't read it yet, but it looks like a gem that Faye dug up, and so there's always more. There's always, you know, you're always going to find nuggets that help to clarify things better, and get away from this idea of it's your opinion kind of nonsense. And I'm not going to read all that stuff tonight. That's his. Anyway, oh yeah, this is what I just ran into. Ivan Illich, International Bureau of Education. Now, see, this could diminish this guy really quick, because this is International Bureau of Education, UNESCO. Now, I don't know if this guy's hooked up with UNESCO or not. See, now that I got the book, now I got to go and deal with background checks and that, to find out what the hell's going on here. The following text was originally published in Prospects, the Quarterly Review of Comparative Education, Paris UNESCO, International Bureau of Education, International Bureau of Education 2000. This document may be reproduced free of charge as long as acknowledgement is made of the source. Ivan Illich, 1926. To write a profile of an educator like Ivan Illich is not an easy task. Here, first of all, is a thinker set in a specific historical context of the 1960s period, characterized by radical criticism of capitalist society and its institution, among them the school. Furthermore, the personality we are dealing with is a complex one. In those years, it was said of Ivan Illich that he was an intelligent man who liked to surround himself with gifted people and did not suffer fools gladly. He could be the most cordial of men, but was also capable of the most devastating ridicule of those who question his ideas. I can get like that sometimes. He has let's see, he was a worker and multilingual cosmopolitan man whose ideas, whether on the church and its reform, culture and education, medicine or transport in modern societies, ignited controversies that it made him one of the outstanding figures of his time. But those controversies were also triggered partly by Illich himself, by his personality, his style, his working methods, and the radical nature of his ideas for educators. In fact, Ivan, once a priest, is the father of deschooled education. the writer who condemns out of hand the school system and the schools, let's see, for exercising anarchistic functions that fail to keep pace with change, serving only to maintain the status quo and to protect the structure of the society that produced them. Early life and vocation, was born in Vienna, yada, yada, yada. He, after being expelled under the anti-Semitic laws because of his Jewish maternal ancestry, he completed his secondary studies at the University of Florence in Italy and then studied theology and philosophy at the Georgian College in Rome, later obtaining his doctorate in history at the University of Salzburg. Although earmarked by the Vatican for its diplomatic service, Ehrlich opted for a pastoral ministry and was appointed assistant parish priest in New York. Yada, yada, yada. His interest is in furthering the spread of what he called intercultural sensibility led him to found soon after his appointment. I don't know what that. Let's see. Get down here farther. Okay. Back in New York, he accepted a professorship at Fordham University in '61 as a means of furthering and strengthening intercultural relations. He founded the Center for International Documentation in the city of, I can't say it, Mexico. The purpose of the CIDOC was to train American missionaries for work in Latin America. Over the years, however, it became a para-academic center in which Ivan's ideas on deschooled education were put into practice. Let's see. Let's see. This was a time when Ivan began to be widely known. His notoriety began with his criticism of the Roman Catholic Church as an institution, which he describes as a huge business training and employing religious professionals in order to perpetrate itself. He then extrapolated that concept to the institution of the school and formulated the criticism that was to lead him to work for a number of years on a proposal to deschool society. His opinions on liberating the church from democracy in the future and the deschooling of society soon made CIDOC a center of ecclesiastical controversy, and it was for that reason that Ivan disassociated it from the church. In '68, he left the priesthood. In '69. During this time, he developed what might be called his educational thinking. It was between the late '60s and middle '70s that he published his principal work in the field. Later, he altered his focus, shifting from analysis of the effects of schooling on society to that of institutional problems of modern society. Towards the middle '70s, although he still lived in Mexico, he addressed his writings to the international academic community and generally distanced himself from Latin America. By the end of the decade, he had left Mexico for good to settle in Europe. Criticism of the school and deschooling of society. His writings on education are made up of collections of articles and public speeches reproduced in various languages, as well as books also distributed internationally on subjects such as education, health, transport, and on ways in which future society might be organized. His now famous paper, School, The Sacred Cow, from 1968, is the first of a series of works in the field of education. In it, he fiercely criticizes public schooling for its centralization, its internal bureaucracy, its rigidity, and above all, for the inequalities it harbors. Those ideas would later be further developed and published in his book, Who Does the School Serve? In Latin America. These two writings fuse into what is considered to be one of his most important works, Deschooling Society, published first in English, 1970, and later in Spanish in '73. He presents the four central ideas that suffuse the whole of his work on education. Universal education through schooling is not feasible, he says. It would be more feasible if it were attempted by means of alternative institutions built on the style of present schools. neither new attitudes of teachers towards their pupils, nor proliferation of educational hardware or software, nor finally the attempt to expand the teacher's responsibility until it gulfs the pupils' lifetimes will deliver universal education. The current search for new education funnels must be reversed into the search for their institutional inverse, educational webs, which heighten the opportunity for learning, sharing, and caring. The ethos, not just the institution of society, ought to be schooled. The myths of institutionalized values. This myth, according to Ivan, is grounded in the belief that the process of schooling produces something of value. That belief generates a demand. It is assumed that the school produces learning. The existence of schools produces the demand for schooling. Thus, the school suggests that value learning is the result of attendance, that value of learning increases with the amount of attendance. And this value can be measured and documented by grades and certificates. Ivan takes the opposite view, that learning is the activity that least needs manipulation by others, that most learning is a result not of instruction, but of participation by learners in meaningful settings. School, however, makes them identify their personal cognitive growth with elaborate planning and manipulation. The myth of measurement of values. According to Ivan, the institutionalized values of schools instills are qualified ones. For him, personal growth cannot be measured by the yardstick of schooling, but once people have the idea schooled into them that values can be produced and measured, they tend to accept all kinds of rankings. People who submit to the standard of others for the measure of their own personal growth soon apply the same standard to themselves. They no longer have to put in their place but put themselves into assigned slots, squeeze themselves into the niche which they have been taught to seek, and in the very process put their fellows into their places until everybody and everything fits. So this is pretty good. I don't know why. I'm waiting to run into here where the UNESCO is going to backslap them here. Because the whole idea of the UN and UNESCO is that we all are fit into our particular slots. And deschooling is not about that. It's about everything that is not UNESCO and not UN and not your standard open the garbage can and throw the garbage into your brain and close the garbage can and send you to the next class type of schooling. Which everybody was forced into. So where am I going? Alternatives. Let's see. Okay. Closing remarks. Let's just do that. Much of this is to be found in Ehrlich's work and writings. His mistake, perhaps, it was to condemn the school out of hand. The radical nature of his communication prevented him from constructing a realistic strategy for those educators and researchers who might have associated themselves with his protest. In addition, his writings were founded essentially on institutions without any appreciable reference to the results of socio-educational or learning research. His criticism evolves in a theoretical vacuum, which may explain the limited acceptance his education theories and proposals find today. No. This is him being sidelined as a radical because he doesn't fit into the slot that UNESCO wants you to fit into, or the UN or the state institutions. Indeed, Ehrlich is widely accused of being a utopian thinker. Well, what the hell is the UN and UNESCO about other than building this fake utopian world? So he's accused of being a utopian thinker and is further criticized for his early withdrawal from the wider education debate. A deeper involvement and development of viable strategies for putting his ideas into practice, plus a solid theoretical foundation to sustain them, might have led him along different paths. In other words, succumb to the standard that is being forced on everybody everywhere in the world. It's got so bad, like they went out of their way to search out the most remote tribes on the planet in order to suck them into this thing called civilization, okay, so that they have total and complete control over them. Ivan, on the other hand, here doesn't want control. He wants people to basically be free thinkers. But this is when I got looking at the law society and the professions, and the fact that these professions seem to control our lives, and then when I found that the professions were of the arts, all of these professions are of the arts, which is something made up in the mind. So they sit down and they stew around and they decide how your life is going to go. Basically, they put the parameters down of what you can operate inside of. But they're the ones that make the decisions, the big decisions about how you're going to live. And that's just plain wrong. Notwithstanding all of this, Ivan must be recognized an educational thinker who helped to give life to the educational debate in the 70s. He laid the groundwork for the conception, that's something made up in the mind, of a school more attentive to the needs of its environment, to the realities of its pupils' lives, and to the efficient acquisition of socially relevant knowledge. Now it's starting to read like UN shit. Even if the radical nature of his criticisms made it impossible to put them into practice, many of his ideas have universal validity, both for the school system and for other institutions of public utility. And it can never be denied that these ideas influenced a considerable number of educators and extended the movement for deschooling education beyond the historical context in which it was generated, to be manifested in policies and programs aimed at mitigating the academic crisis of formal and non-formal education as a whole. And so, this is basically telling you that the man was thinking, but he was too radical, and, he was too thought-provoking, and so on and so forth, and therefore piss off Ivan. We do need to de-school. I mean, when I left school, that was the first month of grade 11 in 1970 or 71, whatever it was. The reason I left school, I didn't have any problem in school. I didn't find it the least bit challenging. It was a joke. I couldn't understand how it could possibly take us this long to get through a textbook. All of this stuff was like a week's worth of work. And it dragged out for a whole year per class. And it was extremely, excruciatingly boring. It was extremely controlled. And I just finally looked around, and I knew in my gut that this wasn't anything about knowledge. This was about control. This was about total dumbing down. This was about submission. And I came to the conclusion that everything's written down somewhere. All you got to do is go find it and read it. Whatever your interest is, there's all kinds I don't care what your interest is. There's all kinds of information that will help you gain the knowledge that you're looking for. You're not going to get it sitting in a stupid schoolroom. What you are going to do is you're going to get indoctrinated into believing these fictional ideas which are designed to control you and to get you to think in certain ways which turn out to be, in fact, detrimental to your life. So I encourage everybody to look into this guy a little bit. and read that the first thing that I say. It's only 60, what did I say, 61, 63 pages long. That's diddly squat. Anybody can work their way through that pretty quick. No problem at all. And once I read it, maybe we'll come back and discuss it on a future show. Now, what do we got? I got about 2-3 minutes here. Now, I'm having a whole bunch of fun. I phoned the Attorney General's office yesterday and today, and I'd phoned the courthouse. We were over there for Michael Schmidt's hearing on stealing M&R cameras, which he's not guilty of. But when I was over there, I picked up some paperwork here on commencing a proceeding for private information under the criminal code, so that you can bring forward your own court case without the police. And so right at the top, my problem was I phoned the court, and I was talking to the court clerk there, and I says, I need to read this to you because it don't make any sense. It says, justice of the peace are prohibited from giving any advice about your rights, nor can they give you any other type of legal advice, opinion, or guidance. Now, if you're seeking a legal opinion or require guidance about this process, you should seek out a lawyer or legal clinic. Now, so when I'm talking to the clerk over there, I go, this doesn't make any sense. The justices of the peace are sitting on the benches doing legal work, but it says here that they're prohibited. Well, no, that means is that they can't give you legal advice, right? Well, down here it says that because you have to have a license to practice law, right? These guys don't have a license. The justices don't have a license. That's why it says here they're prohibited. But then down here farther it says if the justice decides there are grounds to move forward on your paper, to do so, a summons or more rarely an arrest warrant will be issued for the accused. Well, that means that the justice has to make a legal opinion. Okay? That's a legal opinion he's making, which up at the top it says he's prohibited to do. Now, I talked to the clerk, and she's going, I don't know, but I phoned the Attorney General's office. And so I phoned the Attorney General's office, who they know me very well there. And seems to be I'm on a security list over at the Attorney General's office. So they weren't taking my call today. I'll give them another shot tomorrow and see if I can get back inside there and talk to some of these security people. Because my question was to have this verified, and it was the clerk, I told the Attorney General, that told me to call them, and that I needed verification on this. And so when she said, well, I'll give you somebody to talk to, and I end up at security, which is called the JOOS, which is a small clique of 16 police whose job is to ensure the security of the courts. Now, that has absolutely nothing to do with my question, but it seems that every time I make a call to the Attorney General's office now, I end up over in the security branch. So I'll give him another shout, see what happens tomorrow, see what we can get going here, and maybe we'll discuss some of that on Thursday. And that should about clean this hour up. And I want to thank Faye from Calgary one more time. And, Faye and them, Helen, these are middle-aged women who are out there flyering Calgary, getting something done. They, my friends, are rocking the boat. I suggest we all.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they want. They shoot.